Hi, and welcome back to Be Productive. I'm your host, Clara Capano. You probably have heard that the number one fear that people have, even more than death, is public speaking. But you know what? We don't need to be afraid when we have the skill sets behind us. Public speaking is so powerful and it's something that we use in everyday life. Now, as a speaker myself with over 25 years, that doesn't mean that I even know it all. So, what we want to do is really have a discussion around the skill sets that we can use to help you start to embrace the ability to go out there and to connect with others on the public front. So, to help me with this conversation is my friend Todd Wall. Todd, welcome to the show.
Clara, I cannot wait to talk about this. I have hundreds of hours on stage, but people don't believe it. I am an introvert, and yet and yet hours and hours and hours upon stage because there is a formula for unleashing this magic.
There really is. And we are going to have some fun with this because both of us are speakers. So we're going to have some fun with this. So let's talk about this. Again, it is a skill set, it takes practice. So, what would you say are some of the best ways that if somebody wants to improve their public speaking skills, what do they need to do? So, let's start unpacking this formula.
I think first off, it's beginning to understand that no matter if you're on a stage or in a virtual environment like this, it's a dialogue that you're looking to create. You're
Mhm.
looking to create a thinking environment to where you're not just, blowhard speaking a bunch of noise at people and maybe a percentage will listen, but you're creating a dialogue where they're actually thinking about what you're saying. And
Mhm.
so that begins with, how do I make a connection with these people? Now, and so I believe it's the understanding of first, let me say, here's where I did it wrong. Early on in speaking, I prepped every little thing I wanted to say down to every little I and T, and I had everything crossed and perfect. And I would go verbatim through that little script and I
Mhm.
would blow hard and go, 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 go. In fact, I even had one time where they turned the light. I kept going and going and going, and they turned the lights off, they turned the mic off, and I kept going because I wasn't listening to my audience. It was a valuable, valuable lesson.
Yeah, because then it sounds like a script. So again, doing these and you have to be able to practice it. But I love the idea of again really thinking about the connection that you want to have and this concept of even though you might be the one on stage or you might be the one in your office giving the presentation, the more that you can turn it into a dialogue, a conversation, it makes it more interactive and again it brings in that connection. So, what are some of the best techniques that you have out there so, because again, with presentations, we've all been through. We've all been through those presentations where you're like, oh my dear God, we've only been here 3 minutes. It seems like 3 hours. So, how do we take a presentation and really make it both impactful, but also engaging for the audience?
Absolutely. I believe it's all about working within a framework and not the specific details. That means unchain yourself from the slide deck. Don't go slide by slide by slide by slide. It lowers your credibility because it decreases your connection. Now, every television broadcast you watch in sports, they're operating within a framework and they're be able to communicate and connect very naturally with millions of people. So you begin every single message beginning with what is the problem that's at hand? What
Mhm.
is the ideal outcome that this organization or this situation actually wants? Now, what's at stake in this situation? If we win, this will occur. If we lose, this will occur. And then you begin a indirect communication, not by being, this is what you have to do, but it's now, if we do this, then this can occur. And then
Mhm.
there's always has to be a call to action. That's a basic 5 part framework that I use for virtually every single message I use. It
Mhm.
becomes plug and play because you must understand, you must trust that you are an authority in your job, in your role. You know the details. Where we get anxiety is we think of in terms of the message as a whole. But if you just go piece by piece by piece and just live in that moment for a minute. Just like playing Candyland. I'm on the red piece right now, and I'm only going to be on the red piece. Now I'm going to the green piece, and I'm just here. And my brain is just going to be in this spot until it's time to go to the yellow piece. And so you just live in that singular moment, and your brain is able to
Yeah,
slow down,
it does.
not
Yeah.
have to think about all the details, but you can
Mhm.
just live in that moment because you do know the details,
You do.
and they'll
And
just
again, when you are
naturally
an
come out
expert, you
as you
gotta
try to
have that
connect.
confidence. Yeah, I love what you're saying. And again, yeah, don't get so attached to that screen and those slides. Again, know the material, but believe in yourself. Now, one of the things that I think messes a lot of people up is they get in their spiel. They're like, okay, I know what I want to say. And then all of a sudden, somebody asks a question. And then we're down the rabbit hole, or it's a question that maybe we weren't anticipating. And so many people are terrified of what if I am asked a question I don't know the answer to? So, how do you think, and how have you been successful in being able to effectively handle questions and objections, from the audience, from the team?
I think there's two elements to it. First off, when you operate within a framework, you always have an anchor point to know exactly where you're at. If you've defined an initial thesis statement for your message, you can even go back to repeat that and it will remind you exactly where you need to go. It becomes your compass. So your
Mhm.
two compass anchor points are your thesis and then which element of the framework are you on. So that's how you can avoid getting lost. Now, difficult questions. This is where I lean on the principles of improv and like Talladega Nights and Will Ferrell and all these brilliant movies we love. They're built on the principles of improv, and it's the power of yes and. So with yes and, they never negate or disagree with anything anyone says, even if they take the conversation in a different direction. They say they always begin everything with agreement. And this is what's taught my little introvert brain to be able to handle complex information or complex situations, even combative situations, is I'm not trying to combat anyone. I'm
Mhm.
just saying yes. And another thing is this.
Yeah.
And another thing that's true is also this. It always begins with agreement, and then how can you one up that situation?
Yeah. And I think also going back to one of your earlier points of, again, be the expert. When you're the expert, again, having that confidence. And it also is okay to say, you know what? I don't have the answer to that right now. Let me gather that. Or that's a very good question. That's something that I hadn't, thought about before. Let's workshop this together or something like that. So I've even been on the fly of saying, well, let's role play that and let's dialogue that together right now. So again, knowing that they are there to learn from you, so you need to control the process and just, know those things. But it is just
Hey,
so fascinating. And, you shared earlier that, you are an introvert. Many people don't know, but I actually used to be terrified of public speaking. So for anybody that's watching this, again, don't let those things hold you back because you have a message to deliver. And I think, when you really are passionate and you know that you're coming from a place of delivering value, you have an obligation to share that information. So I think the more, hitting on some of the things that you talked about with, again, the preparation of being in the moment and just being very present there. Again, getting that dialogue and that, connection going. Those are all going to be key things, to work on.
Clara, I was coaching someone this week, and they were having this anxiety about forming as a manager, and having that authority of presenting that strength and knowing everything. And I asked the question. I said, "Are they wanting you to be Google or know how to operate Google?"
Ah,
So
mhm.
clarity on what is your role here. Are they wanting you to be the smartest person in the room or the one who facilitates and gets to the best outcome?
Yeah.
So
Great.
understanding and the clarity of your role can really prevent you from getting defensive in that situation and playing off those other people, even if they're really difficult conversations.
Absolutely. Really great point. And what I also love about all the points you're making, they are relevant whether you are giving a talk to 5,000 people, or you're giving a talk to your sales team, or even if you're just working with someone one on one, all of these things still apply. And so I think, really, really key items. So now, Todd, if people want to work with you, you are a coach, you're a communication coach. So you help people not just with the public speaking, but with negotiations, with, understanding emotional intelligence, with being able to improve their skills around active listening. Where is the best place for people to find you if they want to look at maybe working with you more?
LinkedIn, you can find me at Todd Wall, and Instagram, you can find me at TV Toad.
Perfect. Love it. Well, for all of you following, take these things to heart. Everything is an interaction. And the more that we can engage with others, the more that we can focus on delivering value, and the more that we can make it a conversation. It allows us to again go deeper, to make sure that we are being more clear with our messages. And that's how we really are going to be able to serve and connect at the highest level. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this quick break.